Good morning. I won't make this video too long. I was up having my coffee and I was on my Instagram scrolling, and the news stories that I'm coming across this morning are very disturbing. You know, a father, he dropped his young son off to school at Cedartown First Methodist Preschool. You know, he was trusting, his child was in good hands. He's safe. I don't have nothing to worry about. The father started noticing disturbing behavior in his very young son. He was having trouble sleeping. He was having accidents at night. His behavior was very strange. It didn't make any sense. An employee at the school, he was actually being inappropriate with the child, and they're still investigating the situation. The story is very sickening. We are living in a time when seemingly trustworthy institutions, schools, churches, organizations we should be able to rely on have become places for harm. As parents, we get up every morning, we're in a hurry, we get dressed, we wake the kids, we pack the lunches, we rush out the door, we drop the children off at school, daycare, grandma's house, wherever we drop them off, and we go about our day. And we trust that the people caring for our children have their best interests at heart. And most of the time they do. But we live in a broken world. We cannot see the battles being fought in the spiritual realm. We don't know who woke up on the wrong side of the bed that morning. We cannot detect the hidden dangers that are lurking in the hearts of those around us. The Bible tells us plainly that the whole world is under the control of the evil one. The enemy is actively seeking to steal, kill, and destroy. He uses people, open doors, where he can come in and wreak havoc in the lives of many of us, our loved ones. He uses our loved ones. The world we live in is not neutral. It is under the control of the enemy. And this explains why a lot of bad things are happening. You guys, I'm sure, watch the news. I know I've said this in older videos. Pray before you leave the house. Before you drop your kids off at school, childcare, stop and pray. Make it a part of your morning routine. You got time to stop for Starbucks, you got time to pray. Pray over the people caring for your children. Pray over the teachers, the staff, the other students, everyone that they will encounter. Ask God to remove hidden dangers, expose hidden intentions, place God-fearing people in positions of authority over your child. Give you wisdom and discernment about who you trust. Ask for a hedge of protection. The Bible speaks of God placing a hedge of protection around his people. Ask God to place that around your day. Protect your decisions, guard your conversations, ordain your timing, remove any hidden danger before it can reach you. Keep your spiritual eyes open. The enemy sets traps, he lays snares, but we don't have to fall into them. You got to stay alert, pay attention to your child's behavior. Notice when something seems off, and trust your gut as a parent. The enemy is active. Bad things happen, but we serve a God who is bigger than any enemy, stronger than any darkness, and more protective than any parent could ever be. Don't let the news stories online, on TV, just, paralyze you or anything. Let it drive you to your knees in prayer. Let it drive you to your knees in prayer.